Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Rabbi shrah sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma. The topic for today is the types of logic. Now, if I go talk about logic, what comes to our mind? How to do the work. मतलब काम को सही तरह से करने का तरीका. Now, as far as programming is concerned, as far as algorithm is concerned, as far as pseudocode is concerned, or whichever thing you talk about, we always talk about logic. The best way, the most suitable way of doing the work. Before I move on to this one, like for example, let me ask you a question. अगर मैं आपसे कहूँ कि you have to move from one place to another, or if you have to move downstairs, then definitely logic says what? What will you do? You will either use the stairs, or you will use the lift, or you will use the elevator. Now, this is what the logic says. Okay, what is the right method of doing the work? Same case goes for a computer. What we do is, whenever we are given any problem, whenever we are given any task, we first of all think and decide that which logics are going to be applied here. Before we proceed to the solving of the problem, we have to do the analysis. We have to understand what the program is about, which logic should be used here, and only then we start our work. And this is what you need to remember. This is what you need to follow whenever you are writing the pseudocode or whenever you are programming using any computer language. Let's learn the logics first. The very first logic that you all should be aware of is sequence logic. And we will discuss it just immediately. But talking about the brief thing, what actually is sequence? One after the other. All the steps are followed one after the other. And that is what is the main idea behind sequence logic. The second one is selection logic. And as the name implies, means that you have different paths, you have different ways, and you have to decide that which way or which path is going to be most feasible for you. In this selection logic, we have an option. We have options, or maybe two options, and we decide accordingly that which option should I follow. Talking about the third logic, that is iteration, or we can call it repetitive logic, or more commonly, we use the term loop for it. Iteration, as the name implies, or repetitive, as the name implies, means any task that is done repeatedly. I hope that the three logics name are very clear to all of us. And now let's proceed to the discussion of each of the logics separately. Are we ready? Okay. The first one is sequence logic. As you can see, a little bit of the image that I have inserted here is telling you the sequence one after the other. Think from the real life. Anything that you do, anything that you keep on doing in a sequence, in a one after the other manner, then that is called a sequence logic. Let's see the example. A very basic example, and this example is only taken to make you comprehend the idea behind sequence logic. Like if you talk about anything that you do in the morning, like when it's the normal weekday and it's a school day, what you actually do then, or even if it's not a school day, still you follow a sequence of instructions, and I hope that we all are following. Like for example, the very first thing that I do is I wake up in the morning. Fine, perfect. Normally after you can say we drink some water. I mean, that is again recommended. Then we take a shower, we have breakfast, and we definitely are supposed to stop for the prayers as well. And if it's a school day, then we go to school. Or if it's not a school day, then still we have some other actions to perform, some other chores to be done. And this is what we keep on doing every day. Fine. But as far as this is concerned, this is what you do. Follow a sequence of instructions. And this is why it is given the name sequence logic. Now, as far as this is concerned, maybe the sequence of instructions may vary from person to person. Maybe if you say yourself, you are just eating the breakfast. But talking about your mother, Definitely she has some other sequence to follow because she has to prepare the breakfast for you and your siblings and your whole family. So definitely her sequence is going to be a bit different from what you are following. I hope that the main concept of sequence logic is clear, where we are following the instructions, where we are following the steps, where we are following the commands one by one after the other, and we are not skipping anything. We are not doing anything else except for following the instructions one after the other. Like, think of some examples. Like, for example, any example from real life. I have quoted one example right now, that is the morning routine. You can think of any example from your own life. Like, for example, you go to school. Is there any sequence logic being followed there? Think about it. Yes. Okay. I'm expecting a few answers. You can write it in the chat window. Fine. Yes, that's wonderful. What you do is you keep on following the planner. You, like, for example, your timetable. And this is what is followed one after the other. Like the first period, the first block, then you have the second block, then you have the third block. In this manner, you have snack time in between. And then after the snack time, you have 3 or 4 more blocks. And this is what is the sequence that you have to follow every day, all the 5 days of your school. Now, this is what actually sequence logic is. Like, definitely your teachers also come in the same manner that if for example, I talk about my timetable, I also follow a sequence. That, for example, if today is Monday, then I have to follow the instructions one after the other. Whatever is in my timetable, I'll be following the instructions one after the other. So it means that we all are following the sequence logic. And what I request you people to do is, from now onwards, whatever you are doing, think, what is the sequence that you are following? And in this manner, believe in me, you will be able to improve a lot in your learning, in your comprehension, and your work. Okay. May I move on to the next topic? Now, just to make you comprehend, a simple diagrammatic representation is also given to you so that you can comprehend what do we do as far as the sequence of morning routine is concerned. Now, in order to comprehend, like I say, algorithm or pseudocode writing, that will be our major concern, because algorithm is actually split into different things and pseudocode is one of it. So just for a little bit of the, I can say, intro, that has nothing to do with the topic at all. My objective right now is just to make you comprehend through this example, what sequence logic is about. Now pay attention to the keywords. What I have written here is take input of 3 numbers, add them, and output the result. Now, if you pay attention to these 3 actual tasks or 3 actions, what are we doing is, the first action is we are taking input, and this input is of 3 numbers. Maybe if I just talk about you as in real life, you can say I'm taking input maybe of 5, 10, and 15. So that is your input. It may vary from person to person. Any other person can take input and he can say some other numbers. So that is why it will be, since the values are changing, and that is why we call them variables. The next task is add them. All the 3 numbers that are input by the user are added, and then we are outputting or displaying the result. Now let's see what will be the instruction or what will be the pseudocode that we have to write. The first instruction, as you can see, is input. And here we have input in 3 variables. The first variable is number 1. The second variable is number 2. And the third variable is number 3. Now, this is the first sequence of instruction that has to be followed by any programmer. The next is, you can see sum. And in this, what is happening is the 3 numbers that are input by the user are added, and the result is stored in a variable, into a variable sum. And you can see the use of the assignment operator. And lastly, what are we doing is, we are talking about the output. And this is actually the sequence. One after the other, the instructions are followed. First input is taken, then sum is calculated, and then output of sum has taken place. I hope that this example is very much clear to make you understand the working of the sequence logic as far as pseudocode is concerned. The next logic, as you remember, is the selection logic. But if you can see here, along with selection logic, there is one more word that I have used here, and you need to know this word, and that is called condition checking. By the way, what strikes to your mind when you talk about the term selection, when you talk about the term condition? Yes. Choice. Okay. Options. Correct. You have a decision to make. Very nice. Excellent. Now you can see the diagram, a small image that is inserted on the right-hand side tells you that whenever you talk about the selection logic, here you have options. Here you have, you can say, what to choose from. You have in the figure, they have shown you two options. So because actually minimum two options are there whenever you are moving on to the selection logic. Think from your real life. Anything that you see is selection logic, for example. Okay. If I relate to this previous example where I was where I was eating my breakfast, are there any options that are available for me as far as breakfast options are concerned? Yes. We do have selection for the lunch where the menu is given to me, where from choose from. Fine. Talking about the subjects, like for example, again, subjects. By the way, when you choose subjects in O levels, then you have to opt for a few subjects that are compulsory. There's no selection in that. But when you move on to the choice that is given to you, there's selection, and then you can make a decision that whichever subject suits you, whichever subject you like, you're going to opt for that subject. That is again, selection logic is being used there. Thinking from the perspective that you go to market to buy the clothes. Again, options are there. You can choose from a wide variety of different shirts and different things that are available there, and you can choose, and then the selection is there for you. Mobile phones, the mobile phone operators, these all are actually selection that you can make based on your own liking, based on your own pocket or whatever. So selection logic is something that we keep on doing a lot in our daily life. Now, talking about the example that is being discussed here. Now, the very simple basic example is taken here. You go to brush your teeth. And when you went to find when you went to brush your teeth, what you found was there was no toothpaste. What will you do then? You will ask, you will think, do I have any more toothpaste? And definitely you will look for the toothpaste in the cabinet. So if the toothpaste is there, fine. But if the toothpaste is not there, what will you do then? If the answer is no, then what you will do is you will add it to your shopping list. You or maybe your mother or your father, they will do this activity that they will find, and then they will add it in the shopping list. On the contrary, if the answer is yes, like if you have more of the toothpaste available, then you will simply take it out and you will start using the toothpaste. So you can see here there's a selection. Here there's a condition that we are doing. We are making a decision that what is to be done in case the toothpaste is available or in case the toothpaste is not available. One more example that is being mentioned here is what you see as far as pseudocode is concerned. If percentage is greater than or equals to 50, then output pass, else output fail. And the keyword is endif. This was the second logic that we have worked on, this selection logic. Now the third one is iteration, repetitive. And I use a word loop for that. Like selection, loops also are going to ask you questions. Here also, although it is not, sometimes the people don't even know that, but loops are also using questions. They ask, but the difference is they ask the same question repeatedly. They ask the same question over and over again until a certain task is complete. Now, this is what is the difference between selection and iteration, which is a stage ahead where the question is being asked repeatedly and the action is being performed until the task is completed. Loops allow programmers to efficiently code repetitive tasks instead of having to write the same actions over and over again. Definitely, rather than doing this, what we do is we perform the same task repeatedly, and that is what is the idea behind iteration or repetitive logic. Now, for example, you can see the act of hammering a nail. Here you are constantly asking the same question. Like, for example, if you're hammering the nail, what you do is you have taken the nail and you are using the, and you have the nail and you have the hammer. What you do is you keep on using the hammer on the nail and you keep on asking the question, is the answer no? Then you are going to hammer the nail again. And you keep on repeating the task until you are able to hammer the nail properly. And then you stop doing the activity. This is shown with an image as well, so that you can comprehend that once the hammer is there and the nail is there, what I do is I keep on using the hammer to put the nail, and the work is done until until the nail has reached the destination. I hope that this topic is very much clear to you, a very simple topic, but you need to understand and remember, because sometimes the question can be asked regarding the explanation of these three logics. So I hope that you have understood it well. Jazakallah khairan kasira for listening to the video. If you have liked my video, please subscribe to my channel and share the channel with your friends and family. And please keep on sharing my videos. Allah Hafiz.